Brilliant Emotional Intelligence. Chapter 4. Emotional Expression. People from all cultures express 6 basic emotions in much the same way. They are fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, surprise, and anger. People frown when angry and smile when happy. Happiness, sadness, disgust, fear, anger, and surprise are the 6 basic emotions. We often end up with a vague, confusing emotion, which you can only describe as awful. Awful is not an emotion, but could be the closest description to how you feel. By not knowing what you are feeling, your emotions are more clearly unpredictable or out of control. However, being able to identify emotions will help to understand, anticipate, and manage your feelings and behavior. Practice is required, but it is never too late to learn to identify and understand your emotions. Identifying and understanding emotions. People who possess a broad vocabulary to name their feelings are often better equipped to express their emotions through language rather than acting out through behavior. It is helpful to look up words that accurately describe how you are feeling. Words describing emotions can have different nuances from person to person. For instance, happiness carries a buoyant meaning for most people, but the exact feeling can vary. The last slide at the end of this presentation shows some useful words to help describe feelings. Identify what you are feeling. Emotions do not define you. They are simply messages that help you understand your motivations and actions. If you feel a strong response to someone, start by framing your reaction with "I feel." For example, saying "you are making me angry" places the blame on the other person for your internal emotional state. Expressing your feelings from your own perspective acknowledges that it is acceptable to feel the way you do. This awareness helps you take ownership and responsibility for your emotions.
Brilliant Emotional Intelligence. Chapter 4. Emotional Needs. Our core emotional needs include feeling safe and secure, having a sense of autonomy and the control to make choices, maintaining good levels of self-esteem, having a sense of meaning, purpose, and achievement, feeling competent, capable, challenged, and creative, feeling emotionally connected to others, and experiencing a sense of belonging. This involves feeling understood, valued, accepted, liked, loved, appreciated, approved of, cared for, and needed. It also means feeling trusted, supported, and forgiven. We all have different levels of emotional needs. Identifying these needs can help you take responsibility for meeting them. For example, when you feel lonely, you have an unmet emotional need for connection. When you feel bored, you have an emotional need for engagement. Recognizing feelings like guilt or uncertainty can similarly point to specific underlying needs. Take your time. Once emotions come to the surface, take the time to identify them. It is very common to feel confused or overwhelmed at first. Brilliant tip for practicing emotional identification. Read novels, biographies, and autobiographies. Watch dramas and soap operas. Compare the reactions and motivations of the characters with your own. This raises your emotional awareness and helps you accurately identify feelings, regardless of where they come from. To take it a step further, watch news interviews and try to pinpoint the underlying emotions driving people's beliefs, expectations, and opinions. Pay close attention to non-verbal communication, such as gestures, facial expressions, and tone of voice associated with those emotions.
Brilliant Emotional Intelligence. Chapter 4. Understanding Emotions. One simplified way to view emotions is that there are only 2 primary states, feeling good and feeling bad. However, because there is no single universally accepted way to categorize emotions, psychologists have developed various methods.
Professor William Gerard Parrott categorizes emotions into primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, noting that we usually experience the tertiary emotions first. Another well-known model is Robert Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions, which suggests that basic emotions can be combined to produce entirely new, complex emotions, much like mixing colors on a color wheel. Understanding cultural differences. People all over the world generally categorize emotions as pleasant or unpleasant. However, whether an emotion is interpreted as good or bad often depends on whether the individual belongs to a collectivist or an individualistic culture. Individualistic cultures, such as those in the US and Western Europe, highly value the contribution of the individual. People view themselves as separate entities, and emotions are seen as unique, personal experiences. It is assumed that different people will react to the same event in entirely different ways. In contrast, collectivist cultures place a higher value on family, community, and group harmony. Emotions are often seen as a reflection of the outer world rather than just the inner self. In these cultures, it is often expected that people will experience and express similar emotions in a given social situation.